In this video, we're going to be looking at segmented bar charts as well as percentage segmented bar charts and how we create them from frequency tables. If you haven't seen my previous video about how to create percentage frequency tables, I recommend you look at that first and then come back to this video. So we're going to look at this example that's on the screen. A survey of 15 Year 12 students was used to determine their preferences between AFL, NRL and soccer. The results of this survey are listed below, where A represents AFL, N represents NRL, and S represents soccer. Now, I've already filled out this frequency table. I did that in the previous video. And we're going to use this data to create two segmented bar charts, one that's just with our number and then one with percentages. So down below here, I've created a outline for our segmented bar chart. Notice that I have a key which tells the person reading this chart what colour each of my sports are represented by. So blue for AFL, green for NRL, and yellow for soccer. I've got one singular bar, and that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to segment for each of those sports. And then I've also got my frequency on our y-axis evenly spaced. So let's start with AFL, which is blue. So we can see that we have 6 students out of those 15 that selected AFL as their preferred sport. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try my best, and you should use a ruler when you're creating these, but I'm going to segment this bar chart so that it goes up to 6, which is about there. Okay, might be a little bit off because I don't have my ruler, but I'm just estimating. So 6, I've shaded that in blue, and that from my key should show the person reading it that is the proportion that selected AFL. Next, I'm going to look at NRL. Now, NRL I'm going to represent with green, and we can see from our frequency table that there are 5 students that selected NRL. Now, those 5 are going to go from 6 all the way up to 6 plus 5, which is 11. So I want to draw this segment up to 11. And I'm going to shade that in. And we can see that this segment represents 5 because it goes from 6 to 11. Now, my last segment is for soccer, which I represent with yellow, and that's 4 students. And because we know that this segmented bar chart is going to add up to 15, it is just this last part here, and that's our 4 students, and that goes from 11 to 15, those 4 students that selected soccer. Okay, so what you can see now on your screen is the completed segmented bar chart. You have your key over to the right, you have your singular bar that has its segments all shaded and clearly identified, and then you've got your frequency on your y-axis. We're now going to create a percentage segmented bar chart. So this is essentially the same thing as your regular segmented bar chart that we just made, but now we're using the percentages rather than the number. So let's start with AFL, which as before is represented by blue, and that is 40%. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up with 40% on my scale. I'm going to draw a line across and then just shade that in for 40%. Remember, using a ruler to be as accurate as possible. Next is our NRL. So I am going to circle here, which is 33.33%. And we know that if we add 40% and 33.33%, we're about 73.33%, and that is up here. So I'm going to shade that in like so, and then I'm going to move on to soccer, which if we go back up to our table is 26.67%, and that is just the rest of our segment. And remember, our segmented bar chart, because our total is 100%, our bar chart should go up to 100%, which makes sense because all our data combined should add up to approximately 100%. So now here, as you can see, we have a percentage segmented bar chart that represents each of our 3 sports on one singular bar. It is worth noting that sometimes you can create segmented bar charts that have more than one bar, and that's when you have, say for this example, if I added different age groups. So I might have a bar for the students surveyed in year 10, then a separate bar for year 11, then a separate bar for year 12. That was the data. So you can have more than one bar in a segmented bar chart. It's just in this example, we only had one.